Modern drummer. Here is Baard Kolstad's rundown. Check it out.
What's up, modern drummer? This is Baard, or Baard, whatever you prefer, here in Fort Lauderdale on the very last show of this 5 weeks North American tour with Leprous. So this is a beautiful reference pure kit provided by Claire Global in Nashville and Pearl. It's a 22-inch kick, sounds amazing, and this is a reference pure snare drum, which I use as a main snare drum for like main pitch and stuff. As many of you probably know, I've been the last 6-7 years used 3 different snare drums to have different pitch. So we have this one here as a medium pitched, and as my snare 2, super low pitched, I have a Sensitone Custom Alley for the more like, we call it Oslo snare. Oslo is the main capital of Norway, and there's been a culture for very long that the snare drum should be deeper than the kick almost. It's not necessarily deeper than the kick, but it gives this fat bottom really. And the snare 3, I usually did like a 10-inch, but I've liked more and more to do a 13-inch to get the super high-pitched smack in your face. Before it was more like a popcorn sound I was out for, so I used a 10-inch piccolo snare drum. This is a 13-inch piccolo snare with a very high-pitched one. So yeah, and actually when Chris Coleman watched our show in Pontiac, he said that he thought snare 1 and 2 had a little bit too similar pitch. But when I sit here, I hear a way different pitch and character in the sound, but when you play live, you just have to exaggerate. That's been my experience. You just have to exaggerate. So if you want this low, you gotta tune it very low. If you want this high, you gotta tune this very high. So this one I always have on the max, and this one almost at the lowest I can get, but then I always have to check that it doesn't get loose because I play pretty strong. So this is my snare drum heaven. And for toms, it's still a reference pure series, 10, 12, 13, 16, 18. I tend to end up live with preferring the Claire heads, Remo Emperor, always Remo. In a studio, I usually do Ambassador actually, but coated. But I also do, just for a little variation in the sound for some songs and albums, I do the Emperor Claires as well. For me, it's not only about the sound necessarily, it's also just what it inspires me. When you have all white heads here, I kind of, for some reason, it triggers some new stuff to play. And when I change to Claire heads, it triggers some new creative inputs really when I'm in studio, because I improvise a lot in the studio, and sometimes it's just like changing a crash here can, the size of the crash can change my way of playing hat and snare. It's very weird, but it's just how my ADHD brain without Ritalin works.
Thank you for watching and supporting everything Modern Drummer is up to. Hit the subscribe button down below. It means so much to us because we can keep bringing you the best drummers and content all the time. And please check out our shop. We've got Legends books. We've got back issues. We've got swag. Everything the drumming community could want. And it's so exciting to have you guys be the best part of it. Once again, thank you, and enjoy the rest of the video.
Okay, yeah, and back to the toms, 10, 12, 13, 16, 18. Before I wanted like all the toms to be pretty dark and low pitched, because when I first started in Leprous, it was more like was 13, 16, 18 I had a 13 here. But then as the album moved more along and I started to play more like a wannabe Terry Bozzio thing, and I wanted to have more a melodic vibe and stuff, I had a drum technician in studio who he pitched this one so high and this one so low, and I thought it sounded like it almost sounds like a timbale here in the studio. But in the total mix, when you add so much guitars and when you really want things to cut through, I tend to exaggerate a lot in the studio as well. So I have like the first tom pretty high pitched. This is not that high pitched, but yeah, pretty much. But I want every single tom to have kind of a clearest possible note. So this kit has been out on tour for very long, so let's just see how the pitch is looking now. Yeah, feels pretty good. I get good energy back. That's also what it's about. So yeah, this is my tom office, and I like it very much. So for hat, this is Anthology low bell series. I got both the low bell and the high bell series sent a little while ago. I liked it very much for different purposes, but this one I think cuts. So I'm very much like a hi-hat guy. I do a lot of kind of trap beats and stuff. So I like it to kind of stick out very much, and for me the details in the highs and in the hi-hat, very important for me. And it also has a pretty, cuts very nice, and it's a very direct and nice sound. This was actually brand new on the whole tour. So here you can see how much hi-hat I usually play and how much different I play it. I also got this amazing 15-inch hat. This is a Stratus, Sabian as well. A 15-inch to get a more like a, because in the studio and some of the songs we have, I tend to, sometimes I even mix crashes and do those as a hi-hat as well. But for live purposes, it's a little bit tricky to switch out the hi-hat all the time. But I like this one a lot too, a 15-inch Stratus hi-hat to get more deep edge and stuff. But in general, when it comes to like cut in, like super quick and concrete chokes, stuff like that, this hi-hat works for absolutely all purposes. And here, as an addition to the hi-hat, I have a very cool HHX Aero Splash. I guess that's above like a mini China 8-inch. No, this is a 12. So yeah, this is a 10-inch mini Holy China AA. I vary a little bit during the set whether I want it to be a little bit more wet, but mostly I play it super tight. So and it fits very well when I want to do. And this leads me over to a homemade clap stack. I'm not going to speak more about that. And yeah, in the stack world here, this is the stack I probably use the most, the XSR 13-inch stack, above a 16-inch XSR, very dark one. And here is a more homemade thing, like the Evolution Ozone crash here. It's my favorite crash cymbal, like in all time. In other contexts, I also use this more as a main crash here. Now, the last years I've used this like a China-ish, because Chinas in general, they tend to eat up the whole room, especially in like 800, 900 caps, less caps venues. But on this tour, I asked for like a super dark China, wide lip China. And I spoke with my sound engineer and he thinks it works very nice. But I, on purpose, put it a little weird. So I need to kind of think a lot before I hit it. Because if it's too available, I will overuse it all the time. So I have a video actually playing through the Leprous song Sky's Red, where you can see I have it almost there. And so much comments, people saying that he looks like an angry dad fighting with his kids in the car. That cannot, if that's allowed to say. But and I even miss it one time. But this kind of works well for me because I still reach it well, but it's not too tempting to hit in all kinds of fills and stuff. Then I use this world's best cymbal instead. And that brings me back to this one, because the world's best cymbal you see here as well, has lived a super rough life, been in many albums and stuff like that, but it works perfectly as a super dirty stack. So this is a more high-pitched, aggressive stack. And here is the low-pitched, and this is above a super cool China. So this is an 18-inch, and here is a 17-inch HHX Extreme Chinese. Yeah. Works perfect here as a stack. So I believe I have, yeah, 4 stacks on this setup, and I use them very frequently for different stuff. Yeah, and this one, main crash, I would say. Fierce Crash HHX 18. Love them in 19 as well. Super delicate, nice attack. For me, it's very important to have thin enough cymbals. Because if you have way too thick, I'm not going to mention any other brands, but there's another brand where I kind of feel I can hear it either live or in studio. Where it's like, these cymbals are kind of eating up all the frequencies and stealing the attention from the vocals and stuff like that. So yeah, and that brings me also over to the ride cymbal. That's extremely important for me. That is not too thick because I crash a lot on the ride. I play pretty heavy here. Still want the bell. So the Artisan light ride has been my go-to ride cymbal for like 10 years. It's not very easy to find a thin enough ride cymbal that you can crash on and still you can have like this super distinct, cool bell sound. When you still need that. Of course, you have to focus to kind of hit, but I hit very differently on the cymbals in general. So I need to have a cymbal that can kind of communicate with me in many ways. Yeah, this has potential to be super big and also super soft and nice. And yeah. So the heads for the main snare, I mean, this starts to be pretty well used. This is a control sound, Remo control sound, my go-to live. Anyways, I tried to switch this up a couple of tours ago to a Power Stroke P3 coated, which works very, very nice on this fat snare drum. I put this on the main snare, but still I preferred this head, even though it was so used. It had so much kind of volume and life in it. And after speaking with the sound engineer as well, this heads is like, I can use this until it completely breaks, and it probably never will break. But I actually got empty of these ones. I ordered a little wrong, so yeah. But last show now, and it still sounds pretty cool. Lots of volume, and I get like smacked in the face every time I play on it. So yeah, very important for me with the different types of snares. But again, Power Stroke P3 coated, slightly thicker head that I use on the fat snare, and Ambassador coated, the skinny one here on the high pitched one. And the batter head on the kick drum is Remo Power Stroke P3 Clear. Gives a solid punch, solid depth, and works very well with the mics the sound engineer uses. So I always stay pretty close contact with the sound engineer. And on some songs, you know, I want to, like in the studio, I probably use a big fat beater that gives a more warmer sound to get more when I play softer. That's not really possible in a live setting, so we just need to have a solid communication with the front house engineer. But that works very well, and this head is like, yeah, never disappointing. Sticks. All Vic Firth. I've used the 5.5A for a pretty long time, but now it's 5B. It just gives me a more open, more fat sound, basically. And when I try the 5As now in general, which are great sticks, but for this purpose, I'm just like, how did I even manage to do a show with so skinny sticks? I mean, these 5Bs are like perfect balance for my playing. Same with the 5.5As, and I get a lot of natural power and finesse and everything. So yeah, there's not really it's a very standard stick, but it's like the world's best drumstick. So what more can you ask for it.
Yeah. Hi, so I'm Camille Béchet. I'm the founder of sound engineer for Leprous. And I wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of the microphones I'm using for the drum kit. So it's all Audix microphones. On the snare, I'm using i5s for the tops and D2s for the bottom. I'm making all the bottom of the snare because with Baard's playing, that's very dynamic. So I have a lot of balance changing between tops and bottom. For the toms, I'm using D2s and D4s. For the kick, it's a D6 and AGX60. And then I have those very nice large diaphragm condenser microphones for overheads. They sound very open, not harsh at all. And they allow me to have a really good picture of the dynamics of Baard. And then a few spots mics here and there. So I have an ADX51 for the clap stack, because it's sometimes used as a snare. So I really need to have a spot mics to get the definition and to be able to bring it up front. And an SX1 for the hi-hat, which is like my favorite hi-hat mic ever. It's super defined without being harsh. So yeah, extremely happy with this one. And that's it. Big thanks to Audix Microphones for sorting us out.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the band Leprous and see you on the road.